Hiking on icy trails. Ain't no thing. All you need is a little traction. Let's check it out. Well, I've done my share, and maybe you're about to do it or have done quite a bit of winter hiking. And you'll know, or you'll learn, that there are a number of different types of terrain surfaces you're going to walk on. And I've categorized those in 3 different ways, and we're going to review those today and what traction you might need to get through this whole experience in a vertical way. Alright, check it out. Alright, maybe the first thing to talk about is if you have deeper snow, right? That doesn't really classify in my mind as slippery or icy, but it's a category maybe we should talk about just for a second. If you have snow that's like over your ankles or it's just going to slow you down, and you want to float on top of that, you know, you might want to get some snowshoes or maybe some skis. Again, but that's a little bit different category, but I wanted to touch on that just a little bit before I get into these other 3 categories that I think are really the topic of this video. And here we're talking about icy or snowpack conditions where you just don't want to slip and slide and break something. So there's 3 different categories that I put that under, and for each one of those we're going to require maybe a different piece of gear. Now the first one is what I call like high risk professional stuff. These are people who climb ice walls, you know, or get into high mountaineering stuff where they need some serious traction. I'm talking about crampons, where they have long, you know, 2.5-inch spikes so that you can drive your feet into the ice to give you some good traction. And those are situations, like I said, where you're on like an ice wall, where you're climbing up literally a wall of ice. You can't afford to misstep because, you know, down is the only way to go. Or you might be on the side of a mountain where slipping means death. You know, you're going to fall into a pile of rocks, or you're going to fall off a cliff or something like that. So that is, you know, the high risk mountaineering stuff that probably most of you have not gotten into. I did a little bit of that years ago, but since then I got rid of my gear to do that because you know, the risk factor was just a little bit too high for me. So as I get older, I realize that, you know, maybe I don't want to do that anymore. Now the second category is what I call like a medium risk enthusiast. Maybe like me, who's out here on some very snow-packed or maybe even icy, you know, where you have a good layer of ice on either on the surface or right underneath the surface. You're going to need something kind of semi-aggressive, like what we call micro spikes. And they're just little, you know, maybe like 1/2 inch, 3/8 of an inch little spikes that you strap to the bottom of your feet. And I have a little video of that in some of my other videos. Now you're going to encounter this when you have, you know, heavy trafficked trails that are like really packed snow, that when you step you're going to slide a little bit. This is just to give you maybe a little bit more confidence as you're stepping through that, and you can speed up maybe a little bit more and not worry about slipping and sliding and falling on your. Now the third category I have is what I call kind of a common risk. And for this you're going to need, you know, cleats. You can put cleats on your shoes, or you could put those little spiral coils. But there's lots of different brands out there for all of these things. And then my common risk category is really about slippery sidewalks or paths that might be a little bit slippery, but you don't need anything quite as aggressive as micro spikes. But you just want that little extra comfort so you're not slipping around too much. So if you're thinking about purchasing these kind of things, think injury and emergency prevention. Bad falls, head injuries, broken bones, hips, whatever. When you slip, if you ever slip and fell on ice, it just doesn't feel great.
Yep, that's right.
So you want to get gear that's going to keep you vertical and save your body for another day of hiking. And remember, you get what you pay for when you buy safety equipment. So buy the best thing that you can afford. Alright, so if you enjoy these kind of videos, if you like hiking and backpacking and talking about gear and getting all geeky on that kind of stuff, go ahead and subscribe if you haven't done that already. Okay, so I'm gonna finish my hike today because it's looking like an awesome day. See you on the trail.